there's only one viewer waiting.
Hi.
They're back. Hi.
I'm Nick.
I'm Jill.
And we're HipStrings. Welcome to day 6, right?
Day 6, yes.
We're going to be halfway through.
Yeah.
Day 6 of the 2022 Base
12
Spinalong.
Which means you'll be moving on to another bobbin after tonight.
After tonight, I'll be moving to another bobbin, but you will not. Why is that?
I might actually, just so I have an equal amount of weight on both of my bobbins.
Okay. Well, and as a recap, I'm doing random, so I'm taking one of the 2 dice now that I have. And you are going by days. So you are going on day 6. I'm going to find out what day I'm doing. Have I done that one yet?
Which one?
I'm not going to tell people yet because... I haven't.
So today is Poseidon. It's another one of our Merino Shetland Sari Silk Tusset Silk blends. And I don't think I did mention, it's in our mythology collection, which I don't actually ever reference the mythology collection. It's just kind of a theme for myself. But I probably should be like, here's the mythology collection.
Yeah, do a separate page for it.
Yeah.
And I am doing day number 4.
So you're doing your first bat.
I'm doing my first bat.
So Nick, if you don't remember, Beige Mastic was the hand-carded bat for day 4. It's got lots of different stuff in it. It has 60% merino wool, 10% Romeldale fleece, 10% Tusset silk, 5% Erie silk, 5% mulberry silk, 5% sari threads, 5% flax.
Say that 5 times fast.
No.
Okay. Yeah, so now I finally get to do my first bat. Oh my god, that is just going so smoothly. I might actually be able to long draw this. And it's making... okay, so my goal...
I wouldn't long draw because that's going to change your grist.
I know. I could, though.
You could.
But that does also make me remember that you are supposed to be spinning thicker, and I am supposed to be spinning thinner. Right? To keep our gauge.
Yeah.
All right. So, oh, and Diane is also spinning day 4. So we've got
you got a partner.
I've got a partner. So I actually want to take a bit of a survey of our audience because we think that while the fusion experiment was absolutely fantastic, it may have some unintended consequences because more and more oops, now I'm spinning backwards. See, look, unintended consequences. More and more people that we know are getting their days mixed up. And the only explanation that we can come up with, not that people are tired or that it's the end of the year or, just days are confusing, but it has to be that as a result of the fusion experiment, timelines are colliding. And for some people...
this is our science fiction hypothesis, not our, grounded in science hypothesis.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's just fun. But it's really fun because you can start excusing things where you get confused on what day of the week it is, or that it's Berenstain, not Berenstein Bears.
Yes.
On the fact that actually, the timelines have collapsed, and you're actually from a different timeline where you were correct.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it sounds so much smarter than being like, I was wrong.
But I would be interested in seeing if anybody else has had recent feelings of timeline collapse.
Yeah, I had a friend. We were making plans for something on the 19th. And I had said Monday the 19th, and she said, don't you mean Sunday? And I had to look at the calendar and be like, no, I mean Monday the 19th.
Yeah. By the way, Hollis says, welcome to day 6. Amy says, I don't think I've done a bat either. I've done 5, 7, B, 8, and 2. Tonight is 10. So wait, is that 10 or in base 10? Or no, okay, because she said B.
Yeah.
So I guess it's 10 in base 12, which is 12 in base 10.
Yes.
Not to be confusing at all.
Not at all. Clear as mud.
And Hollis says that she spun number 6 from the fold.
Yep.
So would you like to comment a little bit on the difference between from the tip and from the fold, and what you sort of expect to get differently when you do one versus the other.
So from the tip is worsted because if it's a comb top, because your fibers are primarily parallel. When you spin from the fold, you are actually kind of folding your fibers because you're spinning from the side of your staple lengths. And it creates a more chaotic arrangement of fiber in your single. It tends to result in a loftier single because you are trapping fiber. It can also be useful when you are dealing with a comb top blend that may have fibers of varying lengths in it, or like comb tops that have a lot of texture, because that disorganized nature, the length of the staples doesn't matter as much, and so it can result in having less slubs and stuff if you're dealing with something that has a lot of like bamboo. You can also use it for color management in different types of fiber. So like in a blend that has vertical stripes of color, you can get larger bits of individual colors by spinning from the fold rather than spinning from the tip. Spinning from the tip tends to just optically blend more together. Jillian Moreno is actually exploring this right now in her Patreon.
Ooh. Just drop that in there.
Yeah. So if you're more interested in different ways to spin these mill blends of comb top, go hang out with Jillian. You'll have a blast.
So I finally got to take a class with Jillian at SSK, and I have to say I love the screw it, let's just try it mentality that she has, because she does the fantastic map of every combination, every style, spins it, knits it, shows you the difference that it makes. And so, do you remember the name of the class that I took?
What, you had the spinning your default class?
No, it was the one where we were combining different.
Yeah, her combo drafting.
Yeah, I think that was it. And so it was all about like, here's the sort of things you can do. Here's the sort of things you can think about. Here's spun and knit samples of every variety. And so like she spent a good half an hour just laying out things and describing it. And then, okay, you try it now. Just do something. And it gets you over that barrier of like, well, what if I don't do it right? Or, what if I waste my time? No, it's not a waste of time when you're learning. It's not a waste of material when you're experimenting. It's fantastic. I really love what she does. So I think I can't recommend enough if she's doing something with color management and you're interested in learning what effects that has. It's going to be a great class.
She has her Patreon that's ongoing. She's teaching virtually at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Winterfest. I think that's going on in January. She's teaching at the Daedalus Retreat. She'll be at Pliaway. She'll be at Maryland. She's teaching again at SSK this summer and other places throughout the year. If you ever get a chance, definitely take a class with Jillian. She definitely changed kind of my approach to fiber and made me much more playful when it came to, especially like how I approach my stash and just being like, it's a paint box. I don't have, I don't have to just paint in red. I can take bits of this comb top and leave other bits for later.
Well, it's also fascinating that, us as crafters, all of us, we are literally taking something that we're taking something and making something else out of it, but we have such a hesitation against modifying what that thing is.
But the thing is that nobody is gonna, like, any of my fibers, nobody makes spin starling, let's say. Starling's one of my blends that's been around for like 8 years. It still looks different every time somebody spins it.
Yeah. Nobody spins them the same.
No spins is the same. And I love seeing how differently it comes out.
The artists will not be, well, I won't say nobody, but good artists and fiber suppliers and everything are not going to be offended by you using the source fiber as a, as you call it, a paint box, a palette, a tool, right? So get in there and experiment. I mean, even with this, we were talking about that earlier in terms of this base 12, right?
Mm-hmm. Because how the fiber changes depends on how you spin it, how thick it is, your technique, how you ply.
And then find what you like to do and do it. So, okay, I think we've beaten that horse.
Yeah.
You did promise today to talk
Oh yeah,
about.
I forgot samples.
Well, at least you can talk about it.
I can talk about down breeds.
Down breeds.
We still have 6 more nights after tonight.
Yeah.
So down breeds. I love down breeds.
Start with what is a down breed.
A down breed, it's a group of breeds that all originate from a specific area in Britain. I forget exactly what the geographic location is. If you want exactly details, go get Deb Robeson's like Fleece and Fiber source book. But the big thing about down breeds is that they have very different characteristics in their fleece, and so their fleece has an organized spiral crimp. So let's step back to like foundations, and so usually we think of crimp as either a Z or French fry type crimp, which is what we see in Merinos and Cormo and Corriedale and the fine wools. And then there's like S crimp, which is what you see in the long wools, that it curls more like how, ringlets.
Ringlets?
Yes, ringlets. Like Nick's hair. Nick is a long wool. But down breeds have this really disorganized spiral crimp. And so their wool feels very spongy. It has a lot of it can take a lot of compression and then go back to how it was. And it also means, I think there's something to do with how the scales are arranged and stuff, but they are felt resistant. So you can actually machine wash down breed wool. So some examples of some down breeds are things like Dorset, Cheviot, Southdown are examples of.
And you have some of those in your
I
shop,
do.
right?
I have, well, not by themselves.
Okay.
But I have a blend that is Southdown and Dorset and BioNylon, which I designed as a superwash, like a machine washable sock yarn type of blend. And neither of those wools are superwash treated. They're not chemically treated. But that yarn, that wool, can totally go through the wash. I have some hand spun Southdown socks and some Southdown silk socks that they go through the washer. No special treatment.
And to emphasize that, I had no clue that you had Southdown non-superwash socks, so I just throw all of our hand knit socks in the wash because I trust Jill is not going to bring anything sock-wise in our house that's going to felt.
Yeah.
So, yay?
Yeah, and so I like it because...
Now, we don't throw them in the dryer. None of our hand knit socks. Usually not.
Yeah, they can survive an occasional trip and tumble dry low. But I like them for anything that's going to see a lot of abrasion and sweat, like socks. They're also really good for gloves.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of elasticity. Because a lot of most superwash wool, because
you're going way too thin.
How you deal with making it superwash is you remove the ability of the scales to interlock. But you're usually doing that by either making the fiber smoother, is one way of doing it, or coating it. So it loses some of its woolly nature, usually. But South Down, or any of the down breeds, you're not chemically altering the fiber, so it remains very elastic, even though it's machine washable.
So, if you are all looking for something that is more machine washable, more manageable, so you don't get felted into your own sweater, as we heard yesterday, take a look at.
And I think most of them are conservation breeds too.
What's a conservation breed?
They're breeds that there just aren't that many of them, and so to try to maintain the genetic diversity within sheep, it's important to maintain a diversity of breeds.
Okay.
And we lose a lot if all we decide to use is merinos.
Yeah. Well, I think the audience here is going to be.
Yeah, I have a feeling my audience might be a little bit like, yes, give me all the distinct sheep breeds, and I want to know what they're good for, and when I should use this one, and when I should use that one.
You can be totally hipster about how I used Cheviot before it was cool.
Cheviot is what was traditionally used for kilt hose.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to make a joke about, like, you were saying...
Because people had socks before superwash.
Yeah. And they didn't just replace them every couple of months.
Right, because if you make socks with a non-superwash wool, like a regular merino, it's going to felt on your feet.
Yeah.
And you get a slipper with no elasticity.
And maybe you get felted into your socks.
Yeah.
All sorts of fascinating things. I know you love this whole aspect of, we like to assume that everybody in history was just kind of dumb and didn't do things right or well.
Or they just suffered.
And modern technology is so much better. No, that's not always necessarily the case.
They were making intelligent choices about the type of textiles that they were using and whether or not they were well suited for the purposes. Yeah.
You were reading a book about the Tudor lifestyle, right?
Yes, I was reading How to Be a Tudor by Ruth Goodman, who's an archaeologist who's done a bunch of the living history shows on the BBC. So like the Tudor Monastery Farm and Victorian Farm and all those where, you actually have people living like they did back then. And she has written some very in-depth books about living in different periods, like domestic life. And it was like, yeah, you wore linen shifts because linen helped keep your skin clean. And to make you not smell, even though you weren't bathing on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You can wear linen under things and scrub your hands and your feet and your face and not have a bath for a very long time and still smell pretty acceptable.
But it does require the scrubbing, just not the full bath.
But if you do that with wearing like modern clothes,
yeah,
you're going to reek within a couple days.
Fascinating. All right. I think you fascinated the audience as well. There's been no comments.
They're all listening attentively.
Yeah. Or spinning.
And I'm not spinning attentively, so I'm spinning too thin.
I might be spinning too thin too now.
You are.
Well, I can work on that.
That's why we're knitting shawls from this yarn this year.
I feel like there's been a bit of a failure in some way, shape, or form.
We're talking a lot.
We always talk a lot.
I feel like I'm talking more than I have in past years.
That is possible. There always is that one time that we have to just run out of things to talk about and just awkwardly stare at the screen.
Oh, but we're only on day 6.
Yeah, but...
That usually happens like day 10, 11. Sorry, day A, day B.
We did at
Day
least
10.
get a good night's sleep last night, so we are not as tired.
Yeah, because we didn't wake up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I think I woke up at like 9, but you were already like cookies into the oven, full breakfast made.
Yeah, well. It's not a Saturday if I'm not baking something.
Yeah. That reminds me, there's cookies to eat upstairs.
You forgot about the cookies?
I remember when we came back home, and I
Yeah.
was like, I'm going to eat a cookie.
Yeah.
And then I got so distracted by putting everything away that I had forgotten about cookies by then.
And in case you're wondering, the cookies I made today they are called galletas de chuño, which literally translated is cookies made of potato starch, which is a terrible description if you don't know what they are. They are cookies that actually have the majority with potato starch, but they are lemon flavored. So there's a lemon zest. The potato starch makes them...
They're super crumbly.
Yeah. But in a good way, not like dry your mouth out kind of crumble.
No, but like really good shortbread, but like even finer.
Yeah. They're a Chilean type of cookie, and so I'm sure people haven't heard of them here, but if anybody's interested, I can absolutely share the recipe.
I didn't even split my top today.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that. I did. I'm on the second half.
I don't usually split top.
You do appear to be on the second half, though, so...
Yeah, I am.
I don't know how to feel about the slubs of sari in here. This is sari silk, right?
That has the sari threads in it.
Sari threads.
They're a little bit more clumpy.
Yeah. I don't know how to feel about it because there's so little of it. They are...
It's an occasional surprise.
Yeah. Which, in a yarn, I could see how amazing that would be. Because one of my problems with tweed is that it's, like, everywhere, right? But, like...
Here you're going to get a couple stitches.
Little stitches, a couple little pops.
It's like
I
speckles.
Like that. I like that a lot. My thumb is getting tired. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm stretching out my thumb here occasionally. By the way, Amy says spinning that she is listening, spinning, and watching football. It's time for sports ball. It's always time for sports ball, right?
Yeah, there's always some sports balls, especially in Pittsburgh. I mean, we don't have a basketball team.
You technically have a soccer team.
Yes.
Oh, the World Cup the final is tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes.
We should figure out what time that is.
Yeah. I was reading saw an article in New York Times that was talking about that, Argentina has hundreds of brujas, of witches on the side of the soccer team.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, then they're definitely going to win. I don't think France has any witches left.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah. So we'll have to see how effective the brujas are.
I'm more amused by the fact that that's a New York Times article. Lending some legitimacy to it.
Go write something about the sports ball that, the people who don't usually engage with sports ball will be interested.
Yeah, well, it worked on you.
Yes.
Let's see.
I am also having tired hands problems.
Yeah, well, at least you're ambidextrous.
Yeah. I should work on that.
You were just complaining about how I shouldn't change my gauge,
Your grist.
spinning. Amy, by the way, notes that in her house there is always sports ball. Kickoff is at 10 a.m. Eastern on Fox. I'm guessing she's talking about the
I'm guessing World Cup. Yeah. Morning soccer.
There's also.
I mean, the last time there was World Cup, you watched like some of the games with the kids, and they really liked it.
Well, no, they really liked it because of the cheese plate.
Oh, well, could we put together a cheese plate?
I did buy some brie when I went grocery shopping today. So
you can put together a World Cup cheese plate and get the kids to watch some football.
Yep. Some football.
Football.
Not football. Football, you play with your hands. Football, you play with your feet. Because that's the only way that I can. I mean, the other way is to say American football versus football, but no. That just sounds pretentious. I prefer.
When are you worried about seeming pretentious?
Yeah, never, I guess. I prefer the term hand egg, though.
Hand egg?
Yes, because football, American football, doesn't use a ball-shaped ball, and you don't play it with your feet most of the time. So it's more like an egg that you carry around with your hand. Have you never heard this before?
Is
this another collapsing timelines thing?
Yes. This is like the All I Want for Christmas is a Hippopotamus song.
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Only hippopotamus.
This song comes on in the car and we're driving and Nick's singing along. And then Adrian starts singing along. And I'm like, okay. I've never heard this song before in my life.
And you could tell from the audio quality that it's absolutely a song from that was recorded in like the 60s.
Right. Like it's been around. If it's been around, it's been around for my entire life. So why have I never heard the song?
Collapsing timelines.
Or there's nobody to get the royalties, so it's cheap. So they play it a lot on Spotify.
That's also possible. Yeah, no, I actually hadn't heard it until 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago was the first time I heard it.
So like public domain Christmas song totally be legit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, completely possible. Amy is also complaining the World Cup is not supposed to be this time of year, so it's messing up with all the European pro leagues.
Yeah, it's usually summer, right?
Is it?
But you wouldn't want to play
in summer in Qatar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
See, Amy says hand egg is funny, and I've never heard that either.
Well, apparently you and Amy are from the same timelines. I'm not letting this go. I wish I could take credit for the term hand egg, but I did not come up with that.
Okay. But you're going to make it a thing?
But Amy knows that the hippopotamus song. So, you're not...
I have apparently lived under a rock for the last 40 years.
I think there's just... Amy is evidence of a third timeline that is collapsed.
Or I've lived under a rock.
Or you've lived under a rock. Well, especially because this is quite clearly, not an international Christmas song.
No.
And... Like I didn't hear it from my parents, obviously.
No, I need to ask my parents.
Yeah, I would really be interested if they've heard it before. Ask Jenny. Jenny's heard every Christmas song.
I'm sure Jenny's heard of it.
Diane is verifying that Jill has indeed lived under a rock. I only want hippopotamuses. I love that phrase.
What?
The rhythm that sorry, I'm just thinking about the song. There's a line in the song where they change up the rhythm and they say something like, I don't want a rhinoceros, I only want hippopotamuses. And just the way that it's said is funny. I was thinking about that. And Diane also agrees with hand egg. It's a more accurate description. All right, so we need to start petitioning. Do they still have those White House petitions on the website?
I don't know. No. That was an Obama era thing.
I was going to say, if we could petition the the White House to officially change the name
No,
of
I don't.
American
I don't
football
think
to hand
Biden would
egg.
change the name to hand egg.
Ugh.
Sorry, Nick.
Dreams.
Yeah.
Gotta have them. So instead, you just make the distinction between football and football.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have any interesting stories from Gab learning bassoon today?
No.
No.
Gab figured out how to do something with crochet that I could not wrap my head around.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. We also figured out that Gab's been crocheting backwards.
Oh really?
Yeah, because usually you insert the hook from the front of the work,
Yeah.
what's facing you, to the back of the work.
Yeah. That's
And
what
they've been
makes
doing
sense.
it opposite.
Okay. Why?
Which I was wondering why their crochet looked a bit weird.
Okay.
And it was kind of a revelation to them.
But that would just basically make it inside out, right?
It like twists the stitch.
Yeah.
Which I think is why they're having such big holes in their crochet.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Dan. Dan says there's already an NHL, so I don't think it'll
National
work.
Hand Egg League.
Oh my God. Yes. That is the. That's the only reason it wouldn't work.
That's why we had to differentiate between football and football, because we couldn't have two NFLs.
But we don't have an NSL,
What?
National Soccer League.
No, we don't.
What is
But we don't have a national.
There's an indoor
Yeah.
soccer league.
Yeah.
There's some sort of national soccer league. And I don't know, Amy. We gotta get you to educate us some on sports ball. Oh my gosh, this is actually going to be neck and neck here.
It is.
Speaking of competitions, I'm gonna treadle a little bit faster here. Oh, you're gonna tread a little faster too?
I can do this all day.
Oh, all right, Captain America. You can do this all day. You usually do this all day.
No, it's been a long time since I did this all day.
Spinning.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're in the concentration mode. Oh, I do have another interesting topic, although it's probably for a very small segment of the audience. Has anybody ever heard of the what was it called? Six Flags power plant in Baltimore, Maryland? This is a new obsession of mine, because I finally connected some dots about a memory that I had from childhood about going to this place, and apparently it was only open for about 5 years, but I have the fondest memories of the one time that I went. Oh God. Oh my God. No, no, no. Come on.
Ha!
No!
Photo finish.
Yeah, seriously. I am. No, because look, like.
Major League Soccer.
That was close.
It was.
Good job. Well, we made it halfway through. Okay, so now I can actually read what it says. MLS is American Pro Soccer, Major League Soccer. No Flies says yes. I'm assuming in relation to. Yes, it was near the aquarium in relation to the Six Flags power plant. Absolutely. So I'm just finding.
There's not a delusion.
No, it's not. Well, I mean, there's YouTube videos about it too. So I'm finding a bunch of YouTube videos on
AI?
This.
Haven't you heard of AI? Like,
I would be very impressed
they're all deep
at
fakes,
the level.
Nick.
Yeah. Okay. So for No Flies, like, take a look on YouTube. They have. I'm starting to find some videos on like the fact that it was a Six Flags park that had no rides. Is the missing piece that I had, because all I remembered was called the Power Plant. And if you search Power Plant Baltimore, you get Power Plant Live, you get Hard Rock Cafe. So yeah, go ahead and look for Six Flags Power Plant on YouTube, and there's a bunch of videos that I've been starting to find, and I'm enjoying this walk down my memory lane from when I was 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Okay. And thank you. It is. I've got verification. It's not a delusion. So, I could tell 2 sort of dad jokes.
Okay.
One, I'm just going to repeat what I had told you before because we were in traffic today and we were behind a truck, and it was rusty and it was a little bit off kilter, and Jill says, "There's something not right with that truck," and I said, "Yeah, because it was taking a left." Then there was, by the way, Diane says it only lasted 5 years, so I guess no rides didn't work. Yeah, that's one of the things that they were really emphasizing, that all the designers apparently, one of the videos I watched, all the designers were saying, we need rides, and all of the people who held the purse strings were like, no, rides are expensive, and you have to maintain them, and no. As a 4 or 5-year-old, I loved it, and it had a huge impact on my aesthetic. It was like this whole Jules Vernesian thing, steampunk before steampunk was a thing. Anyways, super cool. Look it up.
Dad joke.
I'm totally going off in tangents because I'm trying to remember the dad joke.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. So I had to log into new things today, or re-log into stuff, and I forgot the password. So like I tried a couple of passwords, and so I tried beef stew, but it wasn't stroganoff. And then I got the notification that it needed to be an 8-character password, so I did Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. Oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna give you an aneurysm or something by the end of this. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone.
Good night.
Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. And remember, change out your bobbin if you're splitting in half right now. So have a good night.